All right, so who has their phone with them? Whip it out. So everybody here is signed up for Twitter, has a Twitter app. As we go on, I've put suggested tweets for you down here, just in case. I don't know some of you, how many of you are like absolutely new to Twitter? Okay, a handful. How many of you tweet, how often do you tweet 10 or more times a day? Oh God, like, okay. I got like, oh God, times 10 then, because less than 5?
A day?
A day?
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea behind this is I'm gonna go through a few things for you, and I think I actually have a slide for this, which is good. Yes. All right. So that's me. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I founded Drip Media. That is my company's, by the way, if you want to follow my company. What my company does, just a quick introduction, it's Drip Media. We approach marketing as a process, so map. And essentially what we do is we design marketing plans for you, and we design them in a way that you can implement them in your business on a daily basis and manage your marketing on your own. So a lot of what I'm going to talk to you about today is engagement online and how you can do it on your own more than 10 times a day. What I'm going to go through today is going to introduce the Holy Trinity. That is Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And I'm going to talk about the different audiences on each of them. So what you can expect from the type of people that are on Twitter, what they do and how they do it. People on LinkedIn, what they do and how they do it. Same as for Facebook. We're going to play a little game. It's going to be good tweet, bad tweet. And we're going to talk about building relationships. And that's the main important part, is that social media is essentially, it's networking virtually. When you go to a big room, who's going to the signature event for Networking Phoenix, right? If you haven't heard about it, please check it out. It's that, but on the internet. And you can treat it the exact same way. Honestly, you can interact with people and talk to them just like you would in real life. And essentially that's how you can use social media for your business. And we'll get into that as well. And then I'm going to do a giveaway. Who's heard of The Thank You Economy? Gary Vaynerchuk? Yes. Very good book. I'm going to give one away today, but I guarantee it'll be the best book you ever read on social media. And if you didn't win it, I promise that if you go buy it, it's real cheap. It's like $13. It'll make my presentation that much more sensible to you, and about how to use social media for business and how it works and how to incentivize your customers and build relationships online. So let's get right into it. My presentation is how to avoid being an online putz. And right now you're all putzes because you tweet less than 5 times a day, and you don't have it on your phone. The keys to avoiding being a putz online is know the network. So know the audiences, the people who hang out there, and how to interact with them. If you are interacting with people on a level that they're not expecting, especially online, it's really easy for them to ignore you by taking you off the feed, or simply writing something snarky back to you because they have animosity and they can just do whatever they want. It's the internet. So then know the audiences. Obviously, there are different people, not just the way that they interact online, but there are also different classes of people on each of the networks. We'll get into that. And engage. So more than 5 times a day there, Brian, because you have to talk to people. You don't have 5 conversations when you go out to networking events. You have to have hundreds of thousands of conversations in a year, and you have to build relationships with these people and meet with them and chat with them, and you can do that online, and that's what we're going to get into. And lastly, that leads to building relationships. So actually building relationships, not just having friends, but knowing who they are, what their interests are, what they do. Just like any of the friends that you have in real life, you can do the same thing online. They have interests beyond your business and the things that they do online. You know, they have dogs. They crochet, or what is it? Yeah, crochet. That's knitting. People do that, and it's your job to know that through the internet. And of course, humor. Humor is the #1 tactic for online. Any video that went viral, it was funny. Name one that wasn't. The double rainbow guy. Who's seen the double rainbow guy? Yeah. You have to talk now, Sue, because you suck and don't have a phone that has Twitter. You've been on the internet, yes? Okay, good. You're aware of YouTube? Owned by Google? Okay. Funny videos that you've seen that everybody wants to show off, they're funny. There isn't one that's just shock and awe. And if it is shock and awe, it's because it's the reaction videos to that movie, and those are also funny. All right, so let's get into Twitter. Real basics on Twitter. Founded by Jack. @Jack. Follow him too. He's a pretty cool guy. He also founded Square. Jack Dorsey Twitter right now has about 20 million plus users. There is a little bit of a kind of a fallacy to that, and I'll show you the graph here in a second. And there's about 25 billion tweets a year happening. This year it's going to be more than that. It comes to about 10 million tweets a day. That's how much people are interacting online. Some of that is a little frivolous. So these are social people. We're talking about the audiences. Twitter is a social platform. You on Twitter to really, it's like networking, and you're interacting with people on their level about things that they're interested in, and showing how you can make your business fulfill those areas of their lives, or simply make it your business as a brand. Interact with them on those on their interests, and give them incentives through what they enjoy. An example of that would be somebody likes the Jets, and you're in catering. You had them as a client, or they were your client, and you're aware that they like the Jets, and you want to make them appreciate your business, and you would think, oh, I'll send them free food. Send them a Jets jersey. You know that because of the internet, and because they're interested in Jets, they'll appreciate that much more, and that's building those relationships online. And that's actually a example right out of the book that I'm giving away. And it's microblogging, so it's 140 characters. That's all you get in a tweet. You got to fit your sentence and idea in there. You can shorten some things. There's tactics to that too, but essentially it's microblogging in the sense that you have only a limited amount of space to create a thought or an idea, and it's kind of a fun challenge to figure out how to make those 140 characters count all the way and get that to go kind of viral, get people to retweet it, talk about it some more. You can use links, pictures, things like that. The fallacy we'll get into now. This is essentially Twitter. If Twitter were 100 people as a community, 20 of them are dead. So there's 20 dead accounts, right? So out of, I can't do the math in my head, and I should have done it before I even started talking. Essentially, 20% of Twitter is nothing. It's accounts, but there's not really anything going on. They're not tweeting. They might follow people, but they're not active in any way. 50% of them are considered lazy. So tweets less than like 5 times a week is lazy. And those people, again, may have potential, may have lots of things they can talk about, but aren't, and therefore aren't engaging online. So Twitter's not really, it's not something they can leverage at this point until they start putting more content out there. 5 of them, I'll read it up here, with more than 100 followers. And so those are the people who actually reached out, connected with people, and start interacting. And if you can see that there's only 5, so 5% actually have followers over 100. I don't know, I have followers. Who do I follow 240 some people. I think I have 1,500 followers. Who has more than 1,000 people following them? Is that a yes? Yeah. So when you tweet something, everyone that's following you sees what you said and has the opportunity to engage with you on that, whether it's repeating what you said to the people that follow them, or talking back to you about the topic and actually having a conversation. Only 5 people can leverage that over 100 people. And so if that person were to repeat what you said, then 100 people now have heard more than what you've said. And that's kind of where Twitter is the social platform where you can really leverage the numbers game. And the more people that follow you and the more people that are talking about what you're saying and have lots of followers, the more you're getting out there and building your brand. And it's all about impressing people. The really interesting part is this bottom one. 5% are also loudmouths. They actually create 75% of the 25 billion tweets a year. So 5% of Twitter is accounted for 75% of the content. That means, not even close. Not even close. There's people that I follow online that literally tweet maybe 200 times a day. They're up at they have tens of thousands of tweets done. And Jack Dorsey, the founder, only has 7,000. He hasn't even broke the 10,000 mark. It's amazing. I think I've only put up 5,000 updates. But those 5,000 updates, at least in the last 3 months, have seen a lot of action. I've talked to Lori about them. I've talked to Kelly over here, and people have seen them. And the information that I put out there is getting out there. I'm not one of these 5%, but it's important to realize that although 5% make up for 75% of the content on Twitter, meaning more or less that some of these, I guess 32% of these are also bots, so they're robots, they're not even real people. The amount of tweets has really nothing to do with how effective Twitter can be for you. Nor does it matter how many people are following you or you follow. It's about the relationships, right? So even if Sue or is it Mindy? Sandy. If you guys have 5 people that follow you on Twitter, but you know everything about them, and they would do anything for you no matter what you said, and you said, hey, I'm going to be at the Coffee Bean down here at Gainey Ranch, and would love it if you guys could come down. I'm showing off some new products to some people, and I would like your testimonials. And then 5 people show up, and they're like, hey, so Sandy was here. She's got a great product. You should buy it. And then they leave. Twitter's probably worth it for you. Now, that's local market, of course, and you can do the same thing. Having 100 followers, 90% of them talk about what you talk about or follow everything you say. Is the relationships. It has really nothing to do about these 2 numbers at all, because there's not really, obviously, it's kind of weighted oddly. So don't pay attention when people start giving you numbers about Twitter and how important it is to have lots and lots of followers. Not important at all. The importance is the relationships that you're building and making sure that the people who do follow you, you interact with and you engage back with, and that's what's going to get you your brand identity online. Moving on, Facebook. Founded Mark Zuckerberg. Who's seen The Social Network? Yeah, it didn't really go that way. So anyway, just wanted to say that. 400 million users. Most of them are actually active. 50% of them log in every single day. And they're on there for at least 20 minutes. Facebook is a sharing audience. They're the sharing people. The beauty of Facebook is not necessarily that you can talk to people or put things on their wall. It's the content you can put out there and the fact that you can tag them. So you can put up a picture from an event and say, look, Sandy's there. I'm friends with Sandy. Sandy was in this picture. She was at this event, and it was an awesome time. And then Sandy can go and comment on it and talk about it. It's all about sharing the content that you've got. Your Facebook fan pages, again, lots of content being put out there. You want people to engage with you, interact with you, create conversations with the content you're putting out there. Videos, questions. They do the polls now, which is really, really exciting. If you're not using polls on your Facebook fan, who has a Facebook fan page, by the way? Everybody. Perfect. Use polls. And it can be simple stuff like, what are you doing for Mother's Day? And then you put down 3 options that they can choose from, and they're engaging with you, and then you can comment on it. And it's building that relationship through Facebook, through sharing content. That's the key for Facebook. Demographics-wise, 82% growth in the 13 to 15-year-old range. So if you're selling dolls, awesome. Majority of them are 18 to 24. The next largest majority is the 25 to 35. But what's interesting is, although these are the numbers of right now, and I think these are actually 2 years old, the growth is what you want to see. 65 plus is the largest growing community on Facebook. So although we have a ton of these people, and there's always going to be a ton of these people, baby boomers and above are hanging out on Facebook, sharing stuff, buying stuff, getting influenced by whatever you put out there. It's like the new infomercial, Facebook feeds. Seriously. You can put stuff out there, and if you can get these people to talk to you, or any of these people to talk to you, and engage with them, it's all about really knowing your brand, who your audience is. But you can find these people, and you can create ads and put out content that will attract these people. So I will put this up, or we're putting this up. Yes, the presentations are available for download. So then these graphs will be available for you, so you can check them out and see, kind of digest a little more, kind of figure out where your business lies, what the growths are, because if you're, let's face it, if you're 35 to 44 and there's really not that much growth happening in that area, Facebook may not be the place for your business, especially if it's not driving a lot of business right now. You may have more luck with people on Twitter, or actually this range right here is a lot on LinkedIn, which we'll get into too. Who's tweeting right now? Who has tweeted at least once since I've started talking? Awesome. Hashtag, yes. Make sure that you're using new marketing as the hashtag. So, oh look, my suggestion, 65 plus age group is largest growing group on Facebook. Hashtag new marketing. That way everybody knows that you're talking about us. The hashtag, essentially you can talk directly to people by using their name, and that name is then linked through Twitter. You can also create these hashtags, which is the invention of Twitter. It's # and then a word, And that essentially creates a topic. So anybody that decides that they want to include the information on this particular topic will use this hashtag or any hashtag and add their information to it. And then those hashtags can be filtered, and you can view them all, what the comments were online. So for us, we're using the new marketing thing. So anytime you tweet, add the pound new MKTG marketing hashtag, and that will then allow people to know, whoever's following you, that you're here, you're talking about this, and everybody else that's talking about it will be here, is here talking about the new marketing trends.
And you add that to Facebook or Twitter?
No, you don't add it to Facebook.
Okay.
You definitely only add it to Twitter. Yeah, these down here are just suggested tweets because Twitter is going to be our main facet of communication this evening. It'll be the easiest way to get information out. We'll get into why you don't use hashtags on Facebook. It's all part of the audience thing and about how you talk on Facebook. Let me do LinkedIn first, and I'll tell you the differences. All right, so LinkedIn, founded by Reid Hoffman, really old big guy, and they have 7 million users. And this is actually, LinkedIn is the most educated community online. And I think I have it in here. They also, well, they're professional networks, so most of them are, they're most educated, so a lot of them are like CEO, executive level, president level and up. They are the ones who have a lot of money. Most of them probably live in North Scottsdale or those kinds of areas, honestly. Like that's, if you have a target of North Scottsdale people, LinkedIn is where you want to hang out. And you want to interact on LinkedIn as much as possible because those people are hanging out there. They're the ones trying to make actual business connections, find new hires, talk about golf. LinkedIn. Majority of them make over $100,000 a year. And so those are the high dollar people on LinkedIn. That's where you want to hang out if you really want to get to the affluent audience. The communication style of LinkedIn, again, very professional. So we're talking, 10th or 12th grade reading levels, at least. So when you're putting stuff out there, you're not like, oh, cool, oh my God, on LinkedIn. Doesn't really, it doesn't really work. If you act like a teenage girl on LinkedIn, everyone will shut you out. OMG, I'm on LinkedIn. No. Everyone, especially the old guys, unless you're cute, will just turn you off. All right, so LinkedIn, this is their growth. 2011, they've grown significantly in the last year. I would say that looks about to be 30% of their growth was in 1 year, last year, and it's all because of the professional network. They all started hanging out together, and they all said, let's go on LinkedIn and let's chat, because that's where everyone else is that's like us. So that's where you would go to find them. This is the richest, again, so the 150K plus demographic networks. LinkedIn is the biggest, Plaxo is the next, and then oddly enough, Yelp. Who knew? Plaxo, if you're not using Plaxo, is essentially was created as a contacts, basically online cloud contacts directory for your contacts, and then they actually create a lot of new social things into it, and Yelp is restaurants and locations rating. I'm not sure why they're that high. That's really interesting to me. I didn't really research it, but LinkedIn, richest, most powerful people on the internet are on LinkedIn. All right, so linking your networks. This is where I want to talk about why you don't use hashtags for Facebook. You are allowed to tweet to LinkedIn. You can link your LinkedIn to your Twitter and your Twitter to your LinkedIn. They can, literally anything you say on either one will go back and forth. You can also filter your Twitter with hashtags, filter your LinkedIn status updates from Twitter using #in or #li. And what that does is, let's say on Twitter you are being social and you do talk about your dogs or how much you love the Jets, and you don't want everyone on LinkedIn to know that because you use OMG every now and then, you filter them. Don't let anything go to LinkedIn unless you put that hashtag on it, and that way you can control the content that actually shows up on LinkedIn under your profile, and then vice versa. I would suggest everything that you put on LinkedIn go to Twitter because it makes you sound smart on Twitter. I would hope, as long as you're doing it right. Does anybody have a LinkedIn page that they use actively? Yes. Awesome. Do you have a company page as well? Perfect. So LinkedIn recently added company pages. A very powerful tool. You can actually customize the way that they look based on the people who are viewing them. Did you know that? So you have the services tab on your company page. You can add up to, I think, as many as you want service tabs that actually filter based on what the person has listed in their profile. So if you wanted to target your services tab strictly to accountants, you can filter it for accountants, since that's the only one that shows up for accountants. If you do use LinkedIn, they have a very great customer support people, and they'll help you in any way they can. They have a ton of new features that have recently come out in the last like 4 months. And if you're trying to get to the more affluent audience and you enjoy being professional online, go hang out on LinkedIn, check out what they've got that's new. So then back and forth here, this way, right? Facebook, anything that you put on your Facebook fan page can go back to Twitter. I suggest never putting anything from Twitter on Facebook, because hashtags, ats, the weird shortened URLs, not so much the UR shortens, but those make people nervous on Facebook. Not everybody is on Facebook and Twitter, so they don't understand these, and when they see them, they're like, oh, why is this person trying to call new marketing? They don't get it. And it's confusing, and you don't want to confuse your audience, because you want it to be as fluid as possible and create engagement, and if they stop for even a second to question what you're putting out there, they're not going to talk to you anymore, and then you're going to lose their attention. So that's why I suggest strictly never using Twitter to Facebook, because you might end up with that issue. Your personal page, if you wanted to kick over there, that's fine. I asked my friends, I polled them, and I said, who here gets annoyed with the fact that my Twitter shows up on my Facebook? The ones who were on Twitter said, well, I see everything twice, so that's kind of annoying. I wasn't really worried about that. But everybody else was like, you check in too much on Foursquare, and I don't give a crap about anything that you say on Twitter. And it was like, a majority of them said that, and I asked, and that's why I asked. I was like, okay, then I turned it off. So now I literally, when I want to put content out there, I have to do it twice. I don't put as much on Facebook as I used to. It's mostly sharing. I don't have a lot to share, at least with my friends, because, every now and then I'll be like, look what I'm eating, and then put it on Facebook because it's a sharing network, and then go, oh, where'd you get it? Oh, I was over, it's the Herb Box over at the Barter Group. I did put a picture up, by the way. So they can talk about it, and that's what's so great. The hashtags, again, be careful too with the LinkedIn. If you do decide that you want to put the hashtag IL after this, or LI after this, and then this shows up on your LinkedIn, not too bad. It depends kind of what kind of terminology you're using with some of the hashtags and the weird things that you put up with the ats, because some of them, let's face it, some people's Twitter names aren't that appropriate, and so you may not want to put that up on your LinkedIn. So just be knowledgeable of the fact that the hashtags, LinkedIn people are pretty open to that, because the way that LinkedIn designed their intake for outside information was very well thought out. So it's almost all harvested in its own kind of area, so people don't get bombarded with it. But when you post a link on LinkedIn, it actually takes you to a separate page that you see the page under the LinkedIn brand. And so although it's Twitter content, or it's a link or an article from TechCrunch or wherever, hi Chuck. It's actually, it looks like it's still on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn did a really good job of kind of branding the content that comes in through LinkedIn. My only thing is I don't know that I'd always want to, like, at Lenny the dog. I wouldn't want that to show up on LinkedIn. At least that's me. You're laughing, but it's true. You don't want it up there. I'm going to repeat myself now a little bit. Engagement, recap. Twitter is social. You're having fun. You're talking to people. You're learning about them. That's what you use Twitter for. Hashtags and mentions are your tools. Mentions are the @ symbol, so if you wanted to talk to me directly, at Merlin U. Ward, I will receive that in a separate column in my feed, and I'll know that you're talking to me, and we can have a conversation. Hashtags, again, just create topics and add to topics and allow people to add to those topics as well. Facebook, sharing. It's all about sharing. It's all about images, polls, links, videos, and tags. The key to the tag, as a page, when you put up content like pictures, unless you're actually friends with the people that were there through your personal profile, you can't tag your own content on your page. But if you can get enough people to friend or like your page, when you post stuff up, you can put out the call to action that says, hey, tag yourselves in the content. We have some great photos. Wanted to make sure that everyone had their opportunity to find themselves. And then you'll see that people will go through and they'll tag themselves in whatever they like. Or sometimes people don't want to take that one picture of somebody going. They don't want to be tagged in that anyway, so they're allowing them to tag themselves. The great thing about that is, as soon as they tag themselves in that, it shows up in their feed, and then all their friends see your picture from your company page. It's all about sharing and leveraging the people. Under your Facebook page, it's called questions. It's a poll. So it's a question, and you can, they're designed in two ways. You can have fixed number of answers, and then people can select the answer they like, and you can also leave it open. You can put in a couple that you like what's your favorite color? Blue, black, green, red, and yellow, and then have people also add their own colors that they want to see Unless you have a really nice following that interacts with you a lot, I would suggest not doing that, giving them fixed options, because you're not going to get a whole lot of engagement if you don't have a lot, and you might have like 3 people that say black and then 1 person that adds magenta, and that's all you see. I don't know. To me, that wouldn't really feel like really great engagement. I guess you could hone out the magenta person and be like, why'd you choose magenta? And start a conversation. But you have the option with the polls, and it all depends on how you want to design your polls or your questions. You can do the same thing on your personal profiles too. That's how I figured out my friends don't like my Twitter feed going to my Facebook. LinkedIn, it's all about expertise. You're talking to professional networks, so you're going to be talking about what you know, or at least talking to other people about what they know. You want to talk in a professional format. There's a lot of information that goes through LinkedIn. It's about sharing what you know through your status updates, but then also sharing the people that you know, leveraging the connections you have, making introductions, things like that, and discussions. So as a as a LinkedIn company, you have the option of creating discussions as well as having a group that has discussions. And if you really want to get out there in LinkedIn and make some new connections, participate in discussions as much as you can. A lot of that is just simply, look at this article, this is what I thought, and then you can go into it. People post research and ask people for feedback. Discussions is a really great way. There was recently that I participated, or actually Drip Media participated in, there's a restaurant group on LinkedIn talking about effective ways to market for restaurants, and they posted a study about QR codes. And so, of course, I chimed in, said, well, this is how we think QR codes should be used, and then I wrote a blog about it and linked back to it. So now my blog is in a discussion somewhere, getting viewed by who knows how many people, but it definitely boosted the traffic on my website. So participate in discussions. It's all about participation in all of these, but you want to participate on the levels that are offered. Again, like the polling, linking back, it's worthwhile to see if it works for you. But it might be that people aren't interested in the polls on Twitter. It depends what, or they're not interested in being kicked over to Facebook. It depends also time of day. I mean, there's a whole wide range of reasons why they wouldn't. But test it out, play with it, and tweet as much as you can, Brian. All right, so good tweet, bad tweet. This will be the fun part. This definitely requires everyone to play along a little bit. This tweet says, I met my husband at David Badash. Retweet at Huffington Post because of Twitter, which is a hashtag, so people are talking about because of Twitter, things that happen because of Twitter. We have 683.162 awesome followers. Why are you grateful for Twitter? So what happened was Huffington Post put it because of Twitter. We have 683,000 followers. Why are you grateful for Twitter? This person answered back, I met my husband. Good tweet or bad tweet? Not by Huffington Post, by this person talking about their husband. Is it a good tweet or bad tweet? It is a good tweet. It's a good tweet because it is relevant to the hashtag, and it's a good tweet because it's personal. It's about being social, so offer up personal information. And they're adding Huffington Post, which has a ton of followers. So if anybody read even anything about because of Twitter, Huffington Post, they're going to be seen by a good percentage of the 683,000 people online. And so now they're getting boosted and hopefully maybe retweeted or at least participating in this conversation. And that's what it's about, participating in the conversation. This is actually the F word, and it's blurred out. Dave McClure, anybody who knew Dave McClure is, founded 500 startups. Interesting guy is a good way to say it. He spoke at the entrepreneurship conference last year. He uses these words a lot. So he says, at Andrew Music, that was utter genius. No, really. Good tweet or bad tweet? Bad tweet. Why is it a bad tweet? Yeah, that's pretty obvious. You don't want to really, unless it's your brand, and this is definitely Dave McClure's brand, and anyone who opts into following Dave McClure knows that Dave McClure will drop the S-bomb, F-bomb. He talks awful things all the time on Twitter, and it's bad. You don't want to use bad words. I suggest using funny words, like friggin' love. This also is kind of bad because, granted, he's having a conversation with Andrew. Andrew is music. Anybody following Dave and sees this tweet doesn't know what he's talking about, for one. So there isn't a lot of relevancy to Dave's current followers. And as a business, you may want to tailor your conversations to allow people to be included in them, unless they're truly that personal. The other thing is, Andrew depending on when Andrew Is Music logs in again to see what Dave McClure said or what it's about, and he may not be using a social media management tool that allows him to see the conversation. Andrew Is Music may have no idea what Dave McClure is even talking about because it was hours ago, and he's tweeted 50 times since then. So yeah, it was a bad tweet. Next one. All right, so this is Mark Knoller, and it's a spoiler alert. If you want to follow along with the constitutional reading, the full text is available now at, and then the link. Good tweet or bad tweet? Oh, and I'll build the context for you. This was during the time the Republicans were going to read the Constitution at the Senate. It is a good tweet. He was incredibly relevant. He made a joke, humor, and he had some content to go to, and he was being kind of funny with current events. So relevancy is a big key. The context of this tweet is awesome. This got actually a lot of play, and the next one plays into it too. So this is Katie Couric. Don't mess with the best. Twain. Quoting Mark Twain. That's a Mark Twain quote, hashtag. Context, the exact same thing, talking about the constitutional reading in the Senate. Good tweet or bad tweet? Bad? Or definitely a bad tweet. She caught some flack for this because she's a news correspondent too, completely irrelevant, and not even a very good joke, to be honest. All right, so this is me. I accidentally flushed my nice pen down the public toilet. How far do you think it went down? Good tweet or bad tweet? You think it's a good tweet? It was a bad tweet, actually. It is funny. It's funny in this context, absolutely. I sent this out at 8 o'clock in the morning, I think. It's a bad tweet because most of the stuff that I talk about online is marketing related. I personally don't like talking about what I'm eating or what I'm doing unless I'm checking in somewhere and talking about somebody that I'm meeting. So this one was kind of a joke. I did it to be funny. Nobody responded to this. Nobody even wanted. My followers aren't really interested in this. Now I do have a special list for the people who are, and I'll tweet to you all the time. But I only do one of these maybe once a day at most, talking about funny stuff. But technically, bad tweet, especially bad for a brand. And I do take my name as kind of a brand, the Merlin Award brand. All right, Startup Pro just published how to make your startup how to market your startup to people not like you. Link, go beyond the spray and pray approach. So he's talking about marketing and just slapping up stuff. What do you think? Good tweet, bad tweet? Now he is a startup pro. Good tweet? Definitely a good tweet. It's relevant to his audience, and he talks about what the article title is, links to it. It's his, he published it, and he gives a little advice here at the end. It's always nice to put a little personal touch on whatever you're putting out there. If he had just the thing without the bottom lines, maybe not as effective, because he's not really drawing a conclusion or making a point. But because he made the point, people are more inclined to click through and see what it's about. You can always add your point and opinion to stuff. And I suggest as your brand that you do, because you have to have a stance. Being indifferent or being in the middle gets you nowhere. You have to either be like Dave McClure and completely disgusting, or the opposite, be absolutely happy and wonderful all the time. Because mediocrity doesn't get you anywhere, especially on the internet. All right, Scobleizer. This is Robert Scoble, pretty popular guy. Who knows Robert Scoble? Nobody. He works for Rackspace. He's one of the first guys to embrace social media, like ever. Very big into blogging, microblogging. His tweet, my life just ended. Rackspace, where he works, just got Yammer. Not good at all. Wink face. Yammer is essentially, it's an internal communication tool for business that works a lot like Twitter, where employees can talk and use like hashtags and things to share information about projects that they're working on. Social media guy is upset about Yammer. Good tweet, bad tweet. Sarcasm doesn't work on the internet unless you are always sarcastic, because it's really hard to portray via text. Who's ever had a text message fight with somebody they like? Right? Spouses. Doesn't work because you said something sarcastic, and then when you try to get out of it and make a joke of it, and you're being sarcastic again, and they just get angry at you. That's what happens on the internet. And this for me, this tweet personally became a bad experience for me, and I didn't like Scoble for a day because he made me look like an ass publicly. Because he wanted to use sarcasm. Okay, so there are declarations. You can use hashtags like "I'm just kidding" or just saying or just kidding. Facetious is a good one. I would have used, if you used hashtag facetious, I probably would have understood it better, and it would still have been funny. I mean, it probably would have made more sense. But hashtags are a good way of declaring not only about topical things, but also declaring your opinion on stuff, or as far as your take goes. So bad tweet. And this is another one, Red Cross. Everybody remember the Red Cross? Did anyone hear about the Red Cross tweet, the rogue Red Cross tweeter? The Red Cross, representing aid to the world, tweeted this. Ryan found 2 more 4-bottle packs of Dogfish Head's Midas Touch beer. We're going to get drink and do it right. Getting slizzard. Hashtag. No. Worst tweet ever. Way off the brand. Somebody was logged into the wrong account. And so this is actually a really good example of how your brand can go completely wrong online, and how you can censor yourself. The nice thing is social media, for the same reason that social media is great, being able to catch people talking badly about your brand, it is also great because you can fix bad tweets that you messed up. So Red Cross again. We deleted the rogue tweet, but the rest of assured that Red Cross is sober and we're confiscating the keys. So they made a joke of it. They fixed the situation. They deleted it so nobody else could refer to it, although people had enough pictures of it to post everywhere anyway. So yeah, this is what I would say is a good tweet. I know, spoiler alert. It's a good tweet. Here's one too. Dogfish beer. So this is Dogfish. Good plan. Retweet ERED 812. After I drop off a pint of blood at the Red Cross, I'm replacing it with a pint of Dogfish beer. Getting slizzard. Good tweet or bad tweet? Good tweet. It's a great tweet because what happened here is actually Dogfish Beer retweeted what this guy said. So this guy made a joke about the Red Cross. But Dogfish Beer acknowledged the fact that there was this kind of funny incident and, made it all better by putting a nice little Band-Aid over it and saying it's a great plan. And supporting, Dogfish Beer now is supporting the Red Cross and endorsing what they're about. That's a great tweet. It's a great tweet as a brand because you're supporting the community and not hanging on all the bad stuff that happens. Being positive online is much more memorable than being negative. That's why nobody really likes Dave McClure. I'm just kidding. But you having a positive impact online is going to get you a lot farther, a lot quicker than being negative. And a lot of times, if you're going to go the negative route and be sarcastic all the time, like if you were going to be, was it Dennis Leary online? You'd have to be absolutely obnoxious all the time for it to even start to pick up anything. All right, so building relationships. Personal interaction. So again, adding people and talking to them about what they're talking about and participating in conversation. That's what you want to do on all of, not just Twitter, but on all of the platforms. Talk to people about what they're talking about. It's not just pushing out information and tweeting the same thing 10 times a day. You can do that and you can schedule all those tweets to go out that way, but you have to be there and talking to people and actually engaging with them whenever you can. Adding value. Again, the Huffington Post tweet, the good tweet that we had, and the person answered the question and added value to it, that's adding value to your social media, is engaging and being positive, reinforcing the interaction that you get and the engagement you get online by thanking people, thank you economy style. Be there for your people who are following you and engage with them and participate. I'll say that over and over and over again. Participate. The free strategy. If you're going to give something away online, like the tweet that we had from Startup Pro, where he published his article and said, go read it. The free strategy is a strategy that's not new, but I blogged about. Essentially, it is, if you're going to give anything away for free, you have to give it away for free in its entirety, and it has to be useful. Giving away teasers doesn't work anymore. People get angry. People live in the microwave society, or what I call the social media mindset, where everything needs to be free. You can't charge for anything online anymore. The free strategy is a good way to do that. What the free strategy does is essentially allows you to show off what you're good at by giving them anecdotal evidence of what you do. So this could be like white papers. It could be what I did for a client in its entirety. Obviously, you want to get the client's permission to use whatever it is that you're using. But don't tease people. Don't give something away half-assedly and not allow them to actually engage with it fully. You'll get a lot of negative response from that. You want people to actually use it and then also talk about it. So if you give it away in its entirety, they will talk about it as long as it was relevant to them. create an experience. Again, your brand online through Twitter has to be your voice. So again, that's where you kind of have to draw a line. Is, are you going to be you online, or are you going to be your company online? And creating the experiences, that the experience that they have through Twitter, or connecting with you on LinkedIn, or fanning you on Facebook, has to be similar, has to be the same. They don't want to go to Facebook and then figure out that there's a completely different tone, that you treat the people on your Facebook completely different than you on your Twitter. It causes brand confusion for one, and it may even cause kind of an accusation of favoritism, depending on what your audiences are and who's larger. And not everybody that's on Twitter is going to follow you on Facebook. Certainly not everyone on Facebook is going to be on LinkedIn. That's for sure, because the age difference were way off. For business, LinkedIn did a really good job with their company pages, or their groups, if you want to call them that too. You can put your brand on there, and again, put out specific information depending on who's viewing it. And so you can really leverage the content that's already on LinkedIn through their filter system. By, like I said, if accountants view your page, you can have a page specifically for accountants that only shows up for accountants and nobody else, so that whatever information is listed there is bartered for accountants. The discussions is a good way to go. Create a group with a decent discussion on whatever topic it is that you want to talk about, or go out and start participating in discussions that already exist. By now there are tons. There's really no reason to reinvent the wheel. Go participate in the discussions that are there. Have them see your name and see what you're about. Check out your profile. You can create more connections that way. There's other strategies to LinkedIn. LinkedIn's also kind of a network builder, like a true business network builder. And so if there's someone you want to get a hold of, the whole 6 degrees of separation thing happens on LinkedIn all the time. So if there's someone specific, like someone locally here, like a media celebrity that you want to get a hold of to talk to about something, to get them to cover something about you, you can go find them on discussions and talk to them and impress them. You can find people who are 2 degrees away and get introductions. There's a lot of ways that you can LinkedIn to actually grow your network. You can't leverage it as fast as you can with Twitter and just start making a bunch of friends, engaging with them, and have them be instantaneously part of your Facebook fan page. A lot of the people on LinkedIn, too, probably don't convert back, especially the higher affluent ones. They won't come back to Twitter and fan your stuff. It's not something they care about. But you can share your expertise with them and try to connect with them, and at some point meet with them. I know if you go to some of the more prestigious events in town, the $150 plate dinners and things like that, and meet people there, they're most likely on LinkedIn. And if they're your clientele, go talk with them, because they are your clientele. The messaging about what you do with Call-A-Teen is the same throughout. You don't tell the donors and you don't tell the kids 2 different things about what you do, right? The only thing that's different is, after you describe what you do, the requested call to action, or whatever it is that you're trying to get out of that audience, changes after that. So on LinkedIn, you'll be talking more about the programs that you're developing, the needs that you have as an organization to grow. And then on Facebook, you're going to be sharing content about what the kids were doing, have them tag themselves, share it with their friends so that you can get more participants in that action. But the branding and the messaging is almost entirely the same, except for the interaction after that. Find out where your audience is going to be hanging out. And pick the one that you think will have the highest probability of success, and concentrate on that almost solely. And you can start to meander onto other things too, but really to make your Facebook page a success, you have to give it a good 4 months of development. And by development, I mean engaging with the people that are there, reaching out as much as possible, having a good call to action to get the likes that you need to drive more engagement, and give it it's going to take a solid 4 months for you to even start to see any kind of momentum grow on your social media. And I probably should have said that in the very beginning. If you signed up for Twitter yesterday and you plan on using it for your business, you're not going to get any success for a year. So Gary Vee, who did the book, he became the #1 Amazon seller with his book using his Twitter account. Tweeted for literally 5 hours saying, here's my book, I'll give away free stuff, send me your address, send me the receipt after you buy the book. Go buy the book, go buy the book. He did a lot of go buy the book. Thank you for buying the book when people said, hey, I just bought 6 copies. Thank you for buying the book. You'll see your stuff coming in the mail soon. The relationship he had with that audience took 6 years to develop. And he started out with Wine Library. I mean, he was a kid in front of a camera talking about wine on the internet. And there were enough winos that were like, yeah, wine enthusiasts, that were like, yeah, I can get behind this. You know, you're talking about wine. I haven't tried that wine. We'll go from there. And he built a following of hundreds of thousands. I think he's got 800,000+ followers on Twitter now as his brand alone. 6 years for him to get 800,000 followers. That will honestly, probably 60% of them believe everything that he says and will do anything that he says. But he had to work hard and literally be on Twitter 2 hours a day, tweeting these people and talking about and putting out content about what he's passionate about. He wrote another book called Crush It, where he talks about his passion. You can read that one too if you want. It's a little more expensive. A good exercise on LinkedIn is pick 5 people that you want to connect with, that you know exist somewhere in the internet world that are on LinkedIn that you want to connect with, and then draw the chain to figure out who you need to connect with to get there, and build the relationships to do it. That would be an excellent exercise for you to figure out how to leverage LinkedIn. And it'd be doing it the hard way, but I guarantee it'd be helpful. Thank you, guys. Hope it was informative.